Okay.
Absolutely buzzing. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. We're here, instant post-match reactions. Liverpool 3, Arsenal 0. We are all absolutely on fire right now. Massive performance, huge 3 points, huge performance going into Real Madrid. But as always, we're your hosts, Scan, Steve, Wahomie. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't yet. And we had to, after an awesome performance, bring back one of our favorite guests. You guys know her. Sophie is here. Sophie, I know you're buzzing right now. Look at that smile you got going. Just go and start us off. What do you think about the performance today?
Right, well, as you all know, my partner is an Arsenal fan, so it's even sweeter for me. This is just 1-0 would have been perfect. 3-0 was just, I only had to generally look at him and he told me to fuck off. That was first half. We had possession, but we weren't the best. We weren't clinical. And second half, the minute Diogo came on, that was a completely different game. Like everything about the pace, the tempo, everything changed. Like Mo really stepped up. The minute Diogo's goal went in, Mo was like, right, hang on, let me show you how it's done. Like that was so enjoyable. That the last 45 minutes was just perfect. I couldn't falter. Couldn't falter.
Yeah, I thought it was an incredible match. I thought that the first half I thought was tough to get through. I thought it was, pretty much a stalemate. I thought that, Liverpool looked pretty sloppy, but once, like Sophie said, once Diogo Jota came on the pitch, it was a completely different story. And once Robertson came off the pitch and you saw Firmino drop into a 10, I think Bobby Firmino as a 10 is like a new signing. I tweeted that, I think it is. He's that ball that he put into Mo, and I don't think Mo finished it off, but it was just absolutely phenomenal. He's always looking forward. I'm so excited to see him in that role. I'm glad that Klopp went with it and tried something new just for the last 20 minutes of the game. So I'm buzzing as well. I'm stoked.
What'd you think, homie?
I'm buzzing. Nancy to say something now.
I'm about to go later on to an Arsenal podcast as well, so I'm absolutely buzzing.
They're going to be rescinding that invite very quickly on.
So it's just obviously the first half was frustrating, and obviously Klopp made the right substitutions this time round. I was critical of the substitutions, but he got it spot on, and it's just it's awesome. Jota just came on and turned the game, and he does. Yeah. Well, Jota, he makes runs that others don't make run. Others don't. Like his movement, his heading of the ball. His jumps underrated, and the fact that he just loves scoring. Just loves scoring goals. Apparently something that's 18 and 18 for him in all competitions. That's incredible. I'm elated. This is Arsenal. We've only won twice there before tonight in the Premier League era, and to get a win tonight and totally boss Arsenal, who have actually been quite good, the last couple of games. Was huge, so I'm elated.
I think you'll be hard pressed to find a Liverpool fan who's not buzzing.
Yeah, I agree with the chat here. First Premier League title in 30 years. Said that just today's game means we're back in the top 4 race. I mean, there was an 8-point swing today almost. We're only down 2 points now. I think we were down 8 to Chelsea at the start of this. So it's massive. It's absolutely massive. I think I saw a tweet from Wahomie that said this is going to put so much pressure on Chelsea. Now Pulisic is out. They have the new coach. They have that game against Porto in the Champions League, so they're going to be playing a lot of football. I don't know if they can handle it. Thiago Silva got a red. He's going to miss the next game. So they look like they're at 6s and 7s in the back without Thiago Silva back there. So. I don't know who they're playing next, but they could definitely lose that one as well. And if we can just continue this momentum going into Real Madrid, it's going to be massive, absolutely massive.
Yeah, no, I think it was an awesome performance. I mean, like Sophie said, even in the first half when we didn't score, we absolutely dominated possession, and Jota came on and just absolutely changed the game. Just absolutely changed the game. He was absolutely everywhere, brought out the best in Bobby Firmino. And and another thing too, I think Klopp actually did nail the substitutions as well. I know Wahomie was scratching his head when he saw Milner go left back and Robertson come off.
We all were.
I think it was great though. Jota got to get some rest after playing, a lot of minutes for Portugal. Robertson came off uninjured, got to rest up a little bit before Madrid. The Milner move and that line and him starting and the Firmino starting. We all thought Jota was going to start. What did you guys think of that lineup selection overall with having Milner start in the midfield? Because I actually thought he played a great game. He was motoring everywhere and his leadership showed. But what do you think, Sophie?
All right, I said it when the lineup got announced, and I saw the meltdown instant, 7 seconds after the lineup was announced. There were people complaining underneath the Liverpool site post, and I was looking at it, I was dead confused as why the people were kicking off. I was like, well, hang on a minute, let's look at it, take emotion away from it. Let's look at it properly. Jota played all of Portugal's games, needed a rest. Gini has played all of Liverpool's games, and for the Netherlands, needed a rest. Who are you going to put up against? Odegaard, were you going to put up Jones or Milner, who can absolutely shut him out, which he did. He had 27 passes, in that first half, Odegaard, that he barely touched the ball. And it's they shut him out. So for me, the lineup made perfect sense to put experienced players mixed in with fast-paced players to really test Arsenal, because we knew Arsenal's defence we knew they weren't going to be a problem. And we knew the minute we heard that Saka was injured, that their front three wasn't going to be a problem either. Pepe doesn't know his left foot from his right foot, and Aubameyang was too busy plaiting his hair to figure out how to play football. So, the lineup itself, I thought, was really clever from Klopp. It made a mix of new players, fresh legs, and players who know how Arsenal work. We've got a really good record against Arsenal. They've become the team that, again, I bring it back to the fact that my partner's an Arsenal fan. For years, I can't remember how many years, every time we play them, he just hates it. He's like, oh, you're going to be smug for days now. And
you're right.
Yeah, he's right, because I looked at him after the first goal and just went, fuck you. But I do think that lineup made perfect sense, and taken away from the fact that internationals, the 3-week break that everyone's had, some players needed, fresh legs. I didn't have a problem with it at all, and I didn't understand the meltdown that people had either.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Gaurav in the chat. He said that, so what did you guys think of the front three back to normal and the front four? So for me, I think, and just going to Sophie's point, I think a lot of people were upset to see Firmino up there. They were questioning why Jota wasn't in the starting lineup. I think Klopp had said that he picked up a few knocks over the international break, and he didn't want to start him, but he would make an appearance. But I thought Firmino had a phenomenal game. He was up there for man of the match for me. He had great. His touches were phenomenal. His movement was terrific. His hold up play, his link up play, and then when he moved back into the 10, he looked like the player that we all think he could be as that number 10. So I'm hoping that this is something that can be built upon. Hopefully we can see it against Real Madrid. I don't know, that lineup's going to be interesting in and of itself. But going back to Gaurav's question of the front three, I thought Salah was fantastic today. He looked well on his game. He looks like he's on that hunt for the Golden Boot. And I thought Mane looked like he was up for it in the first 10 minutes, but then he looked like he got a little out of control for the rest of the game. Whenever he was in possession of the ball, he still looks a little off to me. He really does. So I don't know what you guys think about that. But other than that, I think Jota, Firmino, and Salah were phenomenal.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I tweeted.
Go ahead.
No, I tweeted how Mane's final ball decision making is vanished. I think it's tiredness because obviously not had proper rest in ages. But I do think it is a worry. Even he could have got a goal tonight as well. I think he should have scored when Salah hit the ball. He should have scored when he came back. But overall, the thing with Mane is his overall gameplay. It does look good. It's just the final ball's just not there, and that's the issue with him. But I thought I tweeted before the game now how this is Kabak and Phillips' first real test properly. They came for it flying colours. I thought Lacazette had I think he had zero chances, 0 shots on goal. That's unusual because Lacazette has a very good record against us. Mm-hmm. He was marked out the game completely. They just dominated them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I thought Arsenal were terrible going forward. I thought Robertson did a good job on Pepe. Lacazette, he just got dominated by Kabak and Phillips in the center of the park, and then Aubameyang. I can't believe he's the captain. We had Albert on the other day, and I said it. I can't believe he's the captain. Like Trent handled him today, and he's supposed to be one of the best forwards in the league, and I don't see it anymore.
He was just
he was awful today, Bamiyang.
That's all it was. Captain to keep him.
Yeah, honestly though, I mean, I think with the front three, I thought, they needed this type of game. Mane's just screaming that like he just needs a goal. This guy really, really just needs a goal to turn it around, get that last touchdown. But no, I think otherwise they all looked good. And honestly, I also don't remember a game where we like had so many beautiful through balls. Like the Fabinho is one to set up Mane. Thiago's, to set up Salah. Thiago's through the middle when Leno actually made the save on Salah. That was a beautiful ball. Trent was whipping balls in all day. That was one thing that I mentioned. I thought Jota was going to start was because Trent and Robson have been missing that target guy who can have a powerful header. And Jota comes right on with a powerful header and a beautiful, beautiful ball by Trent Alexander-Arnold. And first Premier League title in 30 years. He makes a good point here about Martin Odegaard's, packing his bags, flying back to Spain. He did absolutely nothing in the second half. I mean, Thiago and Fabinho were all over the place, all over these guys. Arsenal's midfield was completely invisible. The party, that was all done. Like, they didn't do absolutely anything in the midfield as well, and that gave us a ton of confidence. So all around, just I can't even like separate people. Everyone was just so fucking good today. Yeah. Amazing.
I'd still take Odegaard in a heartbeat though. As poor as it was tonight, I'd still taking Liverpool.
There we go.
Did you see his little chat with Klopp after the game?
Yeah, I'd still take him Liverpool. I think he's a lot of
smiles. A lot of smiles.
Yeah, he's a wicked player. But because I think he'd be amazing at Liverpool. But I think I want to shout out to Fabinho. We look at different teams for being at number 6. It's all stems from Fabinho being there. The assurance he provides to Kabak and Phillips and to Alisson, they're far more confident with Fabinho then in front of them because you don't see Alisson doing those stupid kicks anymore, rushing out anymore madly because he's got that confidence. Because Kabak and Phillips have got communication and understanding now, and they also got Fabinho there who's just screening everything, just dominating every front. So we're a much better team with that in front. And obviously then Thiago just is there just to tick the game over, control it, and run the game. So it was exciting to see that. Excited to see that those 5 core, had a great game. And I also want to give a shout out to Trent. I thought Trent's crossing today was outstanding. All the criticism he got from Southgate have been poor and all that nonsense. Then he put in that ball for Jota's first goal was outstanding. Reece James or Wan-Bissaka, they ain't putting a cross like that in. So I think Trent was outstanding tonight. So it's just good to see that after a big long break where momentum could have affected us, we came back and bounced back with a massive 3-0 win and top 4 hunts back on.
Can I just say quickly, did anybody else notice all those Southgate come outside tweets that emerged? But you know what? I saw you were you were getting into a little bit of Twitter beef as fucking always regarding Trent being dropped and like how, as Liverpool fans, we shouldn't care, and how some people were like on your back about like, oh, we should care. And I was saying like during the match to me, mate, like I get that, as a non-Liverpool fan, I get that Trent would want to play for his country and how disappointing that must be to be dropped when you've done 2 Champions League finals back to back, you've won the Premier League, and you're arguably the best right back in the league. To be dropped is going to be a little bit of a gut punch. But I was like, Trent's going to come into this game with a fucking point to prove. Like, you wanted to drop me? Let me show you why you shouldn't have. You say I'm having the worst season of my career so far. Okay, but I'm still better than most. And I think Trent had a really, really good game today. But, like, just going back onto the Fabinho, we talked about Fabinho a minute ago. Fabinho, I tweeted it during the match, like, he's proved today why he should never be out of that 6 role again.
Yep.
Like, he was everywhere on that pitch. Like, he was absolutely phenomenal. But I said it, during the game as well, that for Liverpool fans, we understand how much Fabinho brings to the team, and we absolutely idolise him, and we understand what he's worth. But I feel like he gets slept on a lot by other teams, by rival teams, and not just in the Premier League. I feel like across leagues, across the world, across Europe, Fabinho gets slept on a little bit, and nobody kind of realises the impact he actually has. on a game. And, Kabak and Phillips have done an amazing job and they've cemented their partnership now. But, you can't have that. You can't just put their centre back partnership on level and say, right, everything's fine now. Because Fabinho was the glue in front. He calmed in front. He controlled the midfield, which I know Arsenal didn't really test us much, but when they did, those boys were so calm and collected because they knew that in front of their line of defence was another line of defence.
Yeah.
And, we'd said it before, I think it was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. One of you said about how Fabinho's tackles that he makes in centre-back, he was getting carded for. But the same tackles he was making in the midfield, he was getting away with because it is a completely different dimension. And then when you put him back in his world, you see how these tackles that he gets away with because they're clear, brilliant tackles. And I just love him. I thought he was everywhere today. I just want the bald head of brilliant.
No, he was fantastic today. So someone asked in the chat, first Premier League in 30 years, it was Fabinho who got man of the match and rightfully deserved. He was absolutely immense in there. Just want to go back to the chat real quick. Johnny Williams said, Wahomey knows his football. He was right about playing Jota. So there you go, Wahomey. That's one for you, man.
I will say this. Alex Manfield gave a good point about Jota coming off the bench. In terms of Firmino starting and having Jota to come off the bench, because obviously it was the other way around and you have Firmino come off the bench. Probably would have the same impact in terms of goals. So,
Steven
Alex,
said that too.
Steve said before.
Yeah. Get Mansfield out of here. What the fuck is that, man? Come on.
Both of you said it. No, I'll give you credit. Both of you said it in terms of that was a substitution. Jota coming off the bench, tied legs, getting goals. So credit to you and Mansfield getting that.
Yeah.
Sorry, the chat here. This is awesome. Off topic. Chance Jota, Yankee Cop, Alison Becker, Wahomey shaved head mouth. Sophie Aubameyang hair.
Let me get a break going on.
Yeah, we want to see you by the end of the show, so you have some work to do.
That shit can't be asked. I'll do it next time. I'll come on with the headbands on as well.
That's so funny. So funny. Prediction for the Real Madrid game. We're going to be getting to that in a little bit, so we'll touch on that. But actually, this was an interesting question that Gaurav asked in the chat earlier. If Milner didn't start and no Genie in the lineup, who would have been the captain in that game?
Trent.
Salah.
I think it's either Trent or Mane or Salah.
Salah.
I think Trent, because Trent captained against what do you call it, Midtjylland. So and Salah was playing
in the Champions League.
Never been definitely.
Yeah, Salah was pissed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Salah was pissed. Magic Mo, good to have you back, man. Miss you too, brother. Good to see you in here. Aliaka, I mean, I think this is the 100% the point right here. Like how Trent looked, Southgate leaving him out personally, big statement from him. Sure why he's the best right back. 100%.
God, he needs to sort his Wi-Fi out.
Yeah, he has shit Wi-Fi.
Fucking hell, mate. Come on. You earn enough money. For a little bit of better broadband.
I do want to go back to something that somebody in the chat said. They were asking about Jota and maybe replacing Sadio Mane into the Real Madrid game. I mean, judging him from Bobby's performance today, I mean, maybe you do at the start and then maybe you bench Mane for that game. Well, homie, what do you think?
I'd still play Mane purely because we're going to need his industrious down that side of his, in terms of left hand side, because he's going to be coming up against I think Mendy, and he's very good. Florian Mendy's very good, so I still think you need Mane's industrious down that side to have him playing. So I wouldn't drop. Although Mane overall sometimes isn't having the most amazing games, you still need his industry down that flank to protect Robbo. So otherwise, I think you'll leave Robbo too exposed if you drop him for Bobby.
What do you think, Sophie?
See, my issue is, I said it. I do think that Jota's giving me Mane vibes. The way Mane used to play for us with his finishing is what Jota's doing now. But my issue is if you don't play them as a front four, let's put it this way: the way when Jota came on, Bobby dropped back into midfield, which worked brilliantly. And Bobby, like you said yourself, Andrew, he was like a new signing at a 10 role. Like, completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But my issue is then the midfield. Who do you put in that midfield? Who do you pick? Because now we've got a very stacked midfield, and you can't fucking pick one. Like,
well, I think that's a tough question for you to ask yourself because you want Genie in there, but you know that Thiago and Fabinho have to be in there.
You know what, though? if I wanted the front three as Mane, Jota, and Salah, I'd want Bobby behind them. So that takes up one place. Then you can't drop Fabinho because, as I've just said before, you can't fucking do that. So there's Fabinho, there's Bobby. We've got one place left. My heart says Genie.
We know.
My head says, well, Thiago. But then the rational part of me goes, well, hang on a minute. You need Henderson because he's a captain. You can't bench the captain. And then I go, well, Jones is really good. And then I go, but Genie. So I feel like at the minute, with Genie's contract situation going on, I think we need to keep Bobby in the front three as front three and use rotation with Jota as an impact sub. I think that's going to be the way. I think if you play them all for 90 minutes, they're going to get tired legs very quickly. But I think
my whole point is that, yeah, sorry, you finish your thought.
I just feel like rotating Jota between Mane and Bobby is going to be that impact that we need. Like we saw it today. But I fucking love Jota.
Yeah, and my point is, yeah, I mean, apparently Chris Welch agrees with you.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't agree with me on Jota?
No, he does agree with you. He says,
I think everyone agrees with you.
But my point is like, I understand the argument that we would want Jota as an impact sub, but what if he just started and that's how the whole game was? You know, and it wasn't just from 60 minutes onwards when we absolutely dominated Arsenal. It could have been the 60 minutes before that where we absolutely dominated Arsenal and we scored 3 goals. It's a tough question the manager has to ask, especially against Real Madrid.
But that's what you want. Like we've said it before, we want squad depth. We want Klopp to have that difficult decision of who the hell am I going to play now? Who's the best? You want that competition. And I think Jota provides that competition, not just for the front three, but also for your midfield place. Because if Jota takes a front three place off Bobby takes a midfield place, you've now got to go through, hang on a minute, I've got, Genie sat there going, hang on a minute, I've got to fight for my place between Jones and Thiago. To now go, well, hang on a minute, I've got to fight between Bobby, Jones, and Thiago. I've got to fight for my place between 3 people, not 2. Everyone's got to up the game. And I think that's why City works the way they do, because they've got such a squad depth behind them. They've got basically another team on their bench. Yeah. Those starting players know they need to perform in order to keep their place. And I think Liverpool need not to City's depth, because I don't think that would work for our club the way we run it. But I definitely think we need some form of, we need a bit of competition between the lads. And I think Jota has provided more competition for those that midfield and the front three than any of us could have thought he would have. But I wouldn't want to be making that decision.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I can tell you now, I wouldn't.
Magical Mo had a good point here in the chat. He said if Jota didn't play against Midgetland, we're top 2 right now. And then someone else had a good point. Oh, so just going off that, do we think that Liverpool can reach the top 4 now?
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah.
Never doubted it.
Yeah, because I think Chelsea's still got West Ham away. They've still got City,
Leicester,
Arsenal, Leicester, and Villa all in a row.
I'm going to pull up their schedule, but keep going.
And I think our only hard game really is Man United and Leeds away, to be honest. And I think Chelsea will drop 2. I think Chelsea will lose to City, and they'll lose 1 more. So I think we can afford to draw with United as long as we know the other ones and still get top 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the pressure's on Chelsea now. They have the 2-point advantage on us. Everyone knows like what our injuries were and stuff like that. We have the freedom now to go out and play. Then you know what I mean. So I think we're in a good spot.
Oh, what happened to Wahomey?
You need to upgrade your broadband. This is shit.
Did we lose Wahomey?
Yeah, he had to hop off.
Oh, he had to hop off.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. This is just Chelsea's fixture list for the remaining part of the season. They have Porto, Palace, Porto, and then they have City. They have West Ham. They have City again. That doesn't make sense. Oh, the FA Cup. I'm sorry. So they have City, Arsenal, Leicester, and Villa. Those last 5 4 games are incredibly difficult for Chelsea. So I mean, I'm not afraid of West Ham. I think that West Ham is definitely going to be dropping points. I'm not fully confident in them to really put forth a top 4 battle. I can pull up their schedule in a second, but and then the other team is Tottenham. Tottenham's up there too. I think they still have a game. Do they still have a game in hand? Do you guys know?
I don't know, but Everton too. They still have a game in hand as well.
Yeah, so that's still very much it's gonna be a close run for the top 4, but I think it comes down to Chelsea dropping points today, us getting points. I think West Ham dropped points. It's just there's still a lot of games to play, a lot of football to play. And I think we're just starting to hit our stride where we found the right formula through such a chaotic season that we can actually maybe pull off the impossible. I don't know. We'll see. What's
Imagine
that?
coming seconds at the end of all this now.
What's that?
Imagine coming seconds at the end of all of this.
Oh my God, right?
How
Awesome.
that would just be a middle finger to everyone, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would.
Pretty far away from second, though, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, if United wins tomorrow, they'll be 11 points ahead of us.
Yeah,
we'll see. But Tottenham does not have a game in hand on us, so once they don't, they'll be caught up. So it's interesting. It's going to be a tight run-in. We have a nice classic top 4 race on our hands, and it feels good, feels awesome, and yeah, I mean now we can turn our attention to Real Madrid on Tuesday, and they're pretty banged up as well. So it's going to be interesting.
Can we talk about Ramos quickly? I
know.
Please. Oh my God. I fucking called it. I was like, Ramos is either going to get a yellow card and get suspended for the legs, or he's going to pick up an injury so he can avoid playing Liverpool. And what does the fucker do? Goes and picks up an injury, wearing chains around his neck and training to look like the fucking hard man when he's a fucking wet noodle. And now he's out for his legs. I really wanted Salah to fucking two-foot him, Honestly,
that would have been beautiful to see. I would have loved to see that. Yeah, especially with all those pictures that came out with him with the chains around his neck. He was wearing like the shorts rolled up all the way to his groin. I was like, "All right, buddy, you are a massive tool."
Yeah.
Putting these like chains on his feet, like I'm so strong and powerful, and look at me working out. And then he goes and gets like a groin injury or something, a muscle injury. You just kind of go, with those chains, really a good idea. I feel like his mom should have turned and been like, I fucking told you. I told you to do that, didn't I now, Sergio?
Oh, man.
Don't put the chains on and play big man.
Yeah. I mean, but it sounds like Hazard might magically be back. Like, I'm not scared of him at all. Yeah, he's overweight. He's not the same player he used to be, but Tony Kroos is actually going to be available. He's going to be fit. But then Valverde, he's a question mark too. He may not be able to play, and he's a usual starter for them. So yeah, I mean, this was the perfect type of performance for us, I think, leading up to it. I just don't remember seeing so many beautiful through balls in my life from this Liverpool team in a long time. Like, we played so many good balls, and we continue to do that. We're going to be hard to beat. But I mean, I think, again, we kind of talked about it at the beginning, but we kind of gotten away from it. The back line and Fabinho were absolutely phenomenal. I think it was only.
Oh, there goes the fucking dial up again. Someone answered the phone.
Your internet's awful.
All right, this team's fine to me.
Is it fun?
You're just going in and out.
Oh, my bad. But no, I just think the back line was awesome. Like, Kabak and Phillips answered the call for me today. Like, for me, I know Homie said it too, but this was the first test for them, in my opinion, and they delivered big time. And then seeing Trent just completely pocket Aubameyang. Yeah. Gaurav here in the comments, Klopp after the game, Trent Alexander-Arnold showed his class again. He's in good shape. If anyone says he isn't, they are wrong. Love that backing.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely answered the call of Southgate's challenge, in my opinion. And we said it a few weeks back when he didn't make the England squad. We hoped that this would be his reaction. He wouldn't just sulk and kind of go into a shell. I mean, last season he was the best right back in the world, so he deserves the credit that he was due, So I just think that if he can just keep going for the rest of the season, find that form that he was in last year. I mean, the balls that he put in, he should have had 3 assists today. The balls that he put in were absolutely immaculate. They were just sizzling. And I don't know if any other right back in the world that could probably do that. So if he went to grab another drink, I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
I'm happy. Leave me be.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But no, I think in terms of the center backs, I think today was a decent test, I guess. I mean, Lacazette, they just locked him down for the most part. But Benzema is a completely different animal. Completely different animal. He has everything in his locker. He has the headers. He has the physicality. He has the pace. He has the quickness. He has the skill, the shot. He can do it all. So I think that's the biggest test of the season. He's the best striker that they're going to be going up against. So that's the big test they have to look out for. I mean, I was surprised they brought in Reece Williams at the end of the match for Kabak. Was that precautionary or?
I think it was resting because Kabak played for Turkey, didn't he? Played for 2 games away, and he played really well. He played the full 90 minutes for both, didn't he? So I think it's more of a resting type thing. Like he didn't.
Oh, the garage! Wow, I love it.
Fire today.
Shade of it all.
The chat is coming at Stevie.
Everyone's going to see their shitty fucking dial-up internet.
I'll work on it. All right, everyone. Jesus, give me a break. Yeah. So
tell someone not to answer the phone. It's okay if you don't answer the phone. It doesn't cut off. You don't have to sit there.
All my other devices, I turned off the Wi-Fi, so it's literally only my laptop that's using Wi-Fi, and it's still shit. I live in pretty much a basement, so
do you have other tabs open? Close the other tabs. Try that.
I did. I only have one tab open. It's just this. It's ridiculous.
We'll figure it out.
But what do you guys think of Magical Mo here? Firmino and Jota versus Real Madrid. I mean, they both played great, but I still say Jota. I mean, he's again that target guy for Trent and Robertson. His headers are amazing. He can press just as well as Bobby can too. So
yeah, but I thought you were a Jota off the bench guy.
Ooh.
I was saying that, but then I literally said, like, because of his goal scoring and because of what we need, I think he should start. But, like, I get it. Like, my argument for having Firmino start is the fact that, like, you have the Jota who can come off the game and change the game. Like, I think he can do that way better than Bobby can.
Yeah. I think that Klopp has favorites, just I'm sure like every other manager does. I think he's going to stick with Firmino. I do think that Jota, as Julian says, should start because he is that fucking good. He's phenomenal. But I think that he's going to keep Firmino in there. I really do. What do you think, Sophie?
I feel like he will because, we've played Real Madrid before. Jota, he's never played, that type of caliber of team before. Like, we know he can play in the Champions League. He's done it for us before, but he's never come up against teams like this. He's never been tested. And I think for being sensible, I think we need to do what we did today. Put Bobby on, tried and tested. We know Bobby can do it. We know he can play against them. And then just seeing how we get, towards the half way point and just thinking, when we get to half time, do we need, Jota on? Do we need to change it, bring those fresh legs on and bring him on as an impact until he's established himself in Europe? Because he's not done that yet. He played Midtjylland, and who was the team he played for us against when we were in the Champions League? He played 2 Champions League games for us, hasn't he? He played Midtjylland and...
Did he play Atalanta? Maybe not.
It was one of them, wasn't it? It was one of so they've been no-mark teams, essentially. No disrespect to them. They've made it to Champions League, but they're not Real Madrid. They're not 13-time champions. They're not Bayern. They're not Dortmund. They're not absolute champions on the world, the Europe stage. I think he'd be very silly not to put Bobby in and see how he goes. You can always change him. You can always bring him off.
Yeah, before this game, I thought that Jota had to start. I said that beforehand. And I think that it actually goes for the Real Madrid. I think he does have to start. Like, we desperately need... I understand all the points. I even made the point myself that Bobby was fantastic today. He, the chemistry he has with the front three and the way the whole team works around him. It's different than when Jota's in there. Jota provides a different factor. There's different runs that he makes. Steven froze again.
My God.
But his movement.
My internet. Can I just send him some of mine?
No. Movement is just.
Moving to a slightly different corner, just change.
Oscar Wahomey left. He's doing another show. He'll be joining us, I think. Yeah, MIA, missing in action.
Sorry.
No, I mean, I gotta go back to LFC Gamer here. He said I like Firmino, but he is finished. He's past his best. I completely disagree. I thought that today we saw a different Firmino. We saw the Firmino A as a number 9 that we all know and love, but then we saw him as another number 10. And I said after the game, it's almost like he's a new signing because he provides something that we've been looking for as a 10 for the last 3 years since Coutinho left. So I just think that if he gets moved into that role a little more often, I agree that I don't think that we're going to see Bobby Firmino play constant matches of 90 minutes or starting every match and going the full 90. I think it's going to be a lot more mixed for him. But would you agree with that, Sophie?
Yeah, like we had this discussion as well between us. Like Bobby's either 30 or 10 and 30 very soon. And we talked about Milner hitting 34 and his difference between 33 and 34. The drop off in his quality is insane. And I think we are starting to see that with Bobby in the striker, false 9 role. I think we're definitely starting to see Bobby fall back a bit. And I completely agree with what you said, Andrew, about him being like a new signing at a 10. And I think he does need to be a 10. But It can't be something you do overnight. You can't just turn around to Bobby straight away and be like, right, okay, now you're in midfield. It has to be a gradual transition. It's not going to work. Otherwise, he's been, since 2015, 2016, he's been in that front 3 role. That's his place. Yeah. He's been the glue that connected that front 3 together. To take that from him would be really disrespectful. I think it would have to be a gradual thing, like bringing Jota on, like I said before, and then letting Bobby fall back. And I think if you do that as a Jota comes on, Bobby falls back, you take someone off from the midfield, it then alleviates the pressure on the midfield of who's going to get that starting lineup place.
Yeah.
But like I said, Bobby is 30 or pushing 30 now. He's not the Bobby we knew in the front 3 anymore, and that's okay. That's fine. It's expected, but equally to say he's past it and his time is up is really disrespectful to the player who is still able to do a Rabona and is still able to nutmeg off your team into next week. I'd like to see LFC Gamer fucking Raboning people and then turning around and nutmegging and creating that much possession and creativity. I'd like to see you do that at 29, 30 years of age at the level he does it. Put a little bit of respect on his name. It's as simple as that. Give him.
Yeah, I mean, LFC Gamer, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that Jota needs to start. I would, Sophie is. I think Jota should start. He definitely has earned his place. He scored 2 goals today. He's an absolute phenomenal forward for our front 3. I just think that Klopp is going to continue to go with Firmino. I think that he's going to utilize Jota as an impact sub. I would love to see Jota start. I would love to see his impact over 90 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever the hell it is, and then bring on Firmino. But I just feel like in this big game, Klopp always tends to go with his most trusted lieutenants, his most trusted players, and he's going to go with. I feel like he's going to go with Firmino. His excuse today was that Jota picked up a couple knocks over the international break, but it's going to be. I mean, he has a few days, so we'll see what his decision is.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Jota, and I do think, and I've said it before, he deserves a starting lineup place. But equally, he's 22. He's just joined our club. He's got to fight for it. He can't expect to just walk in and take his place. That's like me walking into work and being like, oh, deputy head, I'm taking your job. It doesn't work that way. You've got to work your way up the ladder. You've got to prove yourself. And Jota is proving himself, and I'd love to see him start. But if it means sacrificing Bobby just to please people online and be like, oh, let's start Jota because the fans want him to start, doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for the game. And I bring it back to, they are Real Madrid. Yes, they are not the best version of Real Madrid, but they are still Real Madrid. They're still not a team that you look at and go, meh, it is what it is. They're still a team you fear and you've got to prepare for. And if you've got people like Benzema that you're coming up against, you've definitely got to put your most secure players out on that game. You can always change it. But, Jota for me, I'd like to see him play more than 30 minutes. But I don't think he's ready for a 90 minutes against fucking Madrid. Not now. Maybe if we get to the semis and the finals, maybe then. We can, but not now. Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're still Real Madrid. They're still the Galacticos. You know, they're still one of the best teams in the world. They're still the most successful Champions League team in the world. So they hold the most European cups. So we should they're a formidable opponent. It's gonna be an interesting one. But off topic here, just getting away from football for a second. Someone had a question for you. First Premier League title in years. What's your favorite Brev?
I think you mean Bev, as in like Bevy.
Yeah,
that's what you mean, Bevy. It would be gin for a night out, but in the house I can't drink gin, so it's Copperberg.
Okay, I've never seen that before.
You've never seen a Copperberg?
No.
It's a cider. A cider?
Look. Oh no, I've never seen that. We don't have that over here.
Mm.
Yeah, we have different ciders.
No. You need come to Liverpool. I'll fill you up on Copperberg.
Yeah, someone in the chat asked earlier if once lockdown ends in the UK, if Steven and I will be on the first plane over. We'll definitely be making our way over at some point, probably next season, I would think, once things finally open up and fans are allowed back in the stands. Steven and I will try to meet up with everybody and we'll send out some tweets. Sophie, you definitely be included in the invite.
I fucking hope so.
That would be a blast.
Oh, could you imagine if you two, me and Wahomey actually got together in a room?
It's going to happen.
Oh, Wahomey will be filing a restraining order, won't he?
Yes. He'll never go to Liverpool again.
No, he's like, oh, she's a knobhead.
Yeah.
Hey, do agree. Oh, what's he doing?
Yeah, Steven, is your Wi-Fi back?
What's this? Sophie's type of person we could get messy. But Sophie would say, who is messy can do it. That's not even fucking English. That's not even... If you're... Right, I'm not normally one to argue with the comments, but because Steve decided to go on a holiday to find his Wi-Fi, if you're going to try and insult me and my footballing ability and knowledge, then I'd suggest you actually be able to spell and use correct grammar before addressing me. Thank you.
Yeah, let's just be respectful of people's opinions. We can all, have different opinions and still be respectful of each other. But yeah, I mean, overall, what'd you think of the game? Obviously, 3-0, kept a clean sheet. I think that's massive for the back four, and it's massive for Klopp, especially build some confidence for them. Reece Williams got some time. I mean, the overall performance I thought was phenomenal in the second half. I think we still started very slowly in the first half. It looked like we hadn't played football together in quite some time, which we hadn't. But I mean, what were your overall impressions on the game? And then we can get to man of the match.
Overall, first half was, like I said at the start of the podcast, first half was boring. It was really tedious, but we kept that possession. We had 63% in midfield possession, 22% in their half. We had 8% in our half. It was they had 2 shots hard at that first half entirely, and I think we held and we dominated the game really, really well. But it was lacking some form of drive behind the press and that. But I feel like for the first 20 minutes we were just kind of waiting to see what Arsenal would bring to us, because at the start of the game I think it was Micah Richards said that Arsenal have been on form recently, and it would be exciting to see what they can bring to a Liverpool side who were undoubtedly struggling. So I think the first 20 minutes or so, we were. I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp just said, hold the line and see what they're made of type thing. And then we came out in the second half and absolutely showed them what we are. And I think we played brilliant liquid football that second half. The communication right the way back. And I said it before, it's like a domino effect. Yep. And I feel like the communication went right back from Alisson all the way through to that front three. And the minute Jota came on, it changed that communication. It changed that dynamic. And Salah woke up. For me, I feel like it changed everything. Those substitutions Klopp made were spot on.
Finally.
The only thing I was a bit by was when he decided to take Robbo off and put Millie at left back. I know it worked out in the end because nothing was getting tracked down that left side. It was all kind of going through the middle, but I just think we've got Tomiskas sat there. Why?
Yeah, I asked that question too. I said, was Robertson on a minutes restriction? I mean, he did play, I think, 2 or 3 games with Scotland, and he played in all 90 minutes of those games. He's played a lot of football with us. But to just make that change with 15 minutes left, I mean, you could have just taken Milner off and slid Firmino back to bring on Reece Williams. It would have been as simple as that. But he's instead decided to take Robertson. So I would assume that there was some sort of minutes restriction for Robertson because he's played so much football.
Yeah, I imagine it was probably just to rest Robbo from Madrid, which makes sense.
Yeah,
because Robbo always plays our games. He's like Genie. He never misses a game. But I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to put Timiskas in there. Like, that's what we bought.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's very strange.
Why would you put a 34-year-old centre mid in a left back position when you've got a young left back sat there? Sometimes I do question Klopp's thought process on it. Obviously, it worked out well today, but that doesn't mean it's always going to work out well. But as much as we praise him, like we said before about putting Bobby in the front 3 because tried and tested, we know it works and that, blah, blah, blah. But equally, sometimes the tried and tested isn't going to always work. And I feel like if he does that against Madrid, taking Robbo off for whatever reason, or, taking Trent off for whatever reason, you can't afford to be putting 34-year-old Millie back there.
I know. I think we're all kind of scratching our heads.
Like, Millie's great, and I love him, but he'll buckaroo someone off the side of that pitch and get himself sent off.
He definitely would. He put in some good challenges.
Was it during the Barcelona game? He piggybacked someone.
I don't remember.
I'll have to find it and I'll send it. I'll have to find it when Milner piggybacks someone off the pitch.
Well, before we get to man of the match, let's just get to the chat real quick. Klopp Demand said, Wahomie, get the first round of drinks. Definitely agree with that one. Wahomie, it'll be on Wahomie's tab for everybody. First Premier League title in 30 years. If Liverpool don't compete next season for the title, I'm hiding away. Yeah, I think we will, man. And once we get Van Dijk and Gomez back and, just a fresh team, maybe some new signings. Who'd you say?
6 weeks. 6 weeks for Virgil.
Yeah, so I'll be interested to see if he makes the Euros, to be honest. But I think we're definitely challenging for the title next year. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. When all our boys are back, undoubtedly.
Yeah, and Klopp Demand again said, what are we all drinking? I'll get the Dom Perignon. Big spender. I love it. Dom Perignon. Sophie will get the Cristal, I think. I don't know. I'm a beer guy, so I don't know what you guys have over there. I love the IPAs over here in the States, but
I don't know. I'm not a beer drinker. I wouldn't know one from the other, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we'll have to figure something out. First Premier League title in 30 years. I'll be drinking water with lemon on top. Okay, it's a little different, but respect it. Let's end with man of the match. Who was your man of the match?
Fabinho.
Yeah.
Fabinho. I want to say Jota because of the brace, but I think Fabinho had a bigger impact the entirety of the game. He was everywhere, like everything you could have wanted in a player today. He was there, and I couldn't fault his performance. I feel like if we actually search his heat map, he will have actually physically drawn a fucking goat. He's brilliant. Like, I don't know what else I can say about Fabinho that game. Like, I think I've said everything I could.
Here's his heat map right here. It almost looks like a goat.
Turn it around, it's a goat. Oh my god, it's an actual fucking goat.
It almost looks like a goat. He just came here a little more, and we would have had some legs. Here's his horns.
No,
here's his horns.
No, turn it round. If you turn it round upside down, you've got the horn at the bottom left, and then and then you've got like the little legs and the little nuts.
Yeah, okay, I see it.
Can we have a look at Jota's? Put Jota's up a sec before we do your man of the match. What's his?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't on for very long. He was on for like 15 minutes.
He's just kind of
29 minutes. He's on for 29 minutes.
No, I can't even try and make an animal out of that.
No. But no, for me, man of the match would likely be, Fabinho got man of the match. He was the one who was awarded it. So I loved Bobby's game. I thought Bobby had a fantastic game today. I thought he was spot on. It's either him or Jota for me. Jota changed the game when he came on. He changed the game. He won us the game.
Yeah.
It was all about Diogo Jota. But Bobby was just phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal in this game.
He was very, very good. And I think he shone more for me when he moved back to that midfield. Like, I keep thinking of your tweet being like, he was like a brand new signing, and he really was.
Yeah.
So good.
I hope we see him more there, to be honest. But well, I have nothing else to cover unless you wanted to add a little something at the end. But all right, well, thank you so much for joining us as always, Sophie. It's an absolute pleasure. Sorry that Stevie and Wahomie had to hop off early for different circumstances, but for everybody in the chat, you guys were awesome today. It's great to be back with Premier League football and another Liverpool win. So, other than that, we'll be back on Monday for the Real Madrid pre-match analysis. But other than that, thanks for everybody for joining us, and up the Reds. See you, Soph.